What's it cost? What's it cost? What's it cost? What's it cost? And when you're always looking at what it costs, you never get what you want. And a lot of us do that in our lives. Every day we're repeating to ourselves, what's this costing me? The sacrifice I'm going, I don't know if I can go anymore. And you lose what you want. You are one decision away from changing your life. And you have to accept that. You're one new meeting, one new relationship, one new contact, one new action, one new decision away from shifting your life from where it is right now to a totally different place. There's a job you need to quit. There's a relationship you need to engage in. Maybe there's a relationship you need to leave, because decisions shape our destiny when they're backed up by some massive ass action. People avoid being desperate. Think of the fact they come here tonight and they're down. They're not where they want to be financially. Their relationships aren't what they want. Maybe they're in a desperate place, and you might think that's a negative thing. But when you're in a desperate place, you take the best actions. Desperation is a great place to be. Those of you that are achieving, one of the reasons the achievement is slowed down is you've allowed yourself to feel less desperate. When you were broke and starting your business, or when you were brand new in your relationship and you were desperate to get her to love you or desperate to get him to love you, you took massive big action. If you woke up tomorrow morning and your baby wasn't in their bed, would you be desperate right away, yes or no? Big time desperation. You wouldn't be thinking about what you need to do. You'd be acting, wouldn't you? You'd immediately make the decision. You'd take massive action. You'd search the house. You'd go into the street. Would you worry if your makeup was on right? How you looked? What people thought about you? You wouldn't, would you? Have to have the perfect plan to go find your baby that's missing. You wouldn't need any of that because you were desperate. So when you remove desperation, all this bullshit creeps into your life where you think you have to have the perfect plan and look the perfect way and have the perfect thoughts and be all zen and perfect. What you need is to be desperate. What you need is to get after it, because our obsessions become our possessions. What you obsess about most regularly, you will eventually possess in your life. The challenge for most people, sisters and brothers, is that we obsess on the things we're fearful of, what we don't have, what we're worried about. And then we end up possessing those things over and over again, rather than programming ourselves to become obsessed with what we want, what our dreams are, what we believe we deserve. When we become obsessed about those things, long term, we end up possessing those things. In order to replace ourselves with the next best version requires intention, requires obsession, requires desperation. Your friends that think you're crazy to have started your business or come to a seminar or spend money you don't have, they're the crazy ones. It's unnatural to be the same person you are right now next year. The 35-year-old you should be gone next year forever, and there should be a brand new, better 36-year-old. 20-year-olds, there should be a better 21-year-old next year. You should constantly be replacing yourself, just like your bones do, just like your lungs do, just like your cells do. It's natural to be replacing ourselves, but we're around people who aren't, so we think it's natural not to. Winning is about 75% psychology, about 25% mechanics. And if you can't get the psychology part right, you can do all the actions perfectly and still not produce the results you want. If you don't enjoy the victories as you go, your brain doesn't produce any dopamine, and you actually lose the desire to continue to perform. You got to quit negotiating the price. Right now, make the decision that any price is worth it as long as it's legal, ethical, and moral for you to make your family proud of you, for you to make your dream happen. Stop negotiating the price. This negotiation you keep doing in your mind. Is this really where I'm supposed to be? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? It steals all your energy. It steals your focus. But those of you that get laser focused, become totally immersed in your dream, that know those babies of yours, your parents, guess what? They're worth the sacrifice. Probably when you were a little boy or a little girl, there was somebody in your life at some point that made you feel special. Maybe one. Maybe they've even passed away. Maybe it was a grandma or a grandpa or a parent. It's got chills. Or a coach or somebody that they made you feel special. Mine was my papa. I'm named after him. I'm Edward III. We'd ride in his van on Sundays to go get donuts, and I'd sit there and he'd just look at me and say, Eddie, you're the special one. And I look at him, I say, I am, Papa. He goes, you're my favorite grandson. He had 15 grandkids. He'd always tell me, you're my favorite. He probably told all of them, but I get chills right now. He made me feel special. Can you remember that person in your life and how they made you feel when you were a little boy or a little girl? You just felt something with them, didn't you? Man, I was born for a reason. I'm special. I'm supposed to be somebody. I'm supposed to make a difference in my life. Let me tell you something. Whoever that person was, if you were blessed to have them, listen, they were right about you. And maybe over the time of your life and your childhood and grade school and you get into the world and business doesn't work and a relationship and you forget. But I'm here to remind you tonight they were right. And what you're really after is that feeling. What you're really after is the way they made you feel is living up to it. Because at the end of our lives, I don't know whether or not you're going to live, but I know for sure you're going to die. And I don't know whether or not you're going to live before you die. Most of us are not living because we're so worried about what everybody thinks about us. Or maybe what we don't feel about ourselves. Let me say something to you real clear. If you spend the rest of your life worrying about what everybody thinks about you, someday you'll never have to worry about it again, because when you die, nobody will remember you were here. I have this theory that someday when I die, and as a Christian I believe I get to meet the Lord. I don't care if you believe it's energy, Allah, I don't care. But I have this belief that when I die, He'll say, well done, good and faithful servant. But here's what I think happens. I think He introduces me to the man I was born to be. The destiny version of me. I think you get introduced to that woman someday. This is who I made you to be. This is who you could have been, man. These are the experiences, the people you could have helped, the contribution, the moments, the memory, the magic, the way you could feel about yourself. Meet him, meet her. This is who you were born to be. To me, heaven, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if it's energy or a place you go, but heaven to me is when I meet that man, we're identical twins. Hell would be meeting that person someday and you're total strangers with them. Where all these things you were capable of, all the possibilities, all the moments, all the travel, all the trips, all the help, all the contribution, none of it happens because you won't fight for your family. You won't get obsessed for what you want. You won't transfer energy to people. You won't stop negotiating the price. You won't program your reticular activating system. You won't work on your identity. All that's on the line is your dadgum life. That's all, just your life. That's all we're talking about here is just you, your precious soul, who's enough, who's got greatness in them, who can do whatever he or she ever dreamed of. If they'll just start believing it, if they'll start taking massive action, your dream's gonna be tattered all the time. Sometimes you just gotta hold it together with hope. Sometimes you gotta hold it together with a little Velcro. You were born to do something great with your life. You were born to do something magic in small ways, in big ways, in quiet ways. Maybe it's not gonna be millions of dollars. Maybe it's gonna be one person you inspire with your story, what you overcome. One kind word, one message, one moment with one person can change the world. You were born to do something special with your life. You're not invisible. You're loved. You're cared for. You're cherished. You're believed in. You came here with a purpose.